Right. Good afternoon. I'd like to call this meeting of the Southampton Town Board to order on this 24th day of March 2020. Please rise and join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And let's remain standing. Join in a brief moment of silence in these difficult, challenging times as we all do whatever we can to slow down and stop the spread of the coronavirus, which is already, as of yesterday, taken 13 lives in Suffolk County, including 5 on the North Fork. Those numbers seem to change all the time. So let's pause in silence in the memory of already the lives lost, and with the hope that we see no further tragedy from this virus, and that we all band together as one community to stop the spread and to get our lives back on schedule, back on track, and back to normal. So let's join together in silence. Okay, please be seated. All right, we're social distancing here at this town board meeting. As you're all aware, the town is still under an emergency order, a local emergency order. We're also, the county and the state and the federal government, all related to COVID-19. Town hall is closed to the public, and we continue to do the people's business. Including town board meetings, so that we can do the warrant, so that we can get our bills paid and our employees paid, and keep all of the essential functions moving. So we're spread out in keeping our social distance of roughly 6 feet. I hope that everybody is feeling well and your families are well. It is challenging for all of us and frightening for all of us. So, Madam Clerk, Cindy, would you please call the roll?
First, I'm going to read your notice. Members of the town board, town clerk, change of time scheduled town board meeting. Please be advised that the town board meeting for Tuesday, March 24th at 6 p.m. is being rescheduled to 2 p.m. on the same day. Jay Schneiderman, Supervisor, Town of Southampton, dated March 18th. Supervisor Schneiderman.
Present.
Councilwoman Lostad.
Here.
Councilman Martell.
Present.
Councilman Bouvier.
Here.
Councilman Schiavone.
Here.
All right, thank you. In addition to the regular schedule, there are 2 walk-ons. There's a walk-on resolution 33830, which is the warrant, and 33834, it has to do with the Cliff Drive Underground Utility Improvement District. So
Supervisor,
It's
I
not
did
in
not
our-
get a copy of
It's
it.
not in our
We
packet.
don't have that.
I will circulate it. I don't know what to do. We'll get copies. So it's
Did it get walked around?
No.
so let me just tell you what it is. It's 33834, authorize the supervisor to execute an agreement with Altice regarding the Cliff Drive Underground Utility Improvement District. It's to allow that project to proceed with the Cablevision component of it. I know Councilman Locke said, I think you abstained on the last one, so you'll likely abstain. But Connie, would you make copies of this? I didn't realize you guys didn't have it. Okay, so do you want to wait to see it, or can we make it? We're not debating the bill now, I'm just putting it on the agenda. So, okay, I'd like to make a motion to walk those 2 resolutions on.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Schiavone. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, thank you. So before we get started, a couple quick housekeeping items or things that aren't on the agenda. First, I want to welcome Sean Cambridge, our newest member of our town attorney's office, assistant town attorney. Welcome aboard. Thank you for coming here. And I also want to do 2 other items. One, we have Ryan Murphy, our emergency coordinator, who is here. Give us a quick update on coronavirus response. And Frank Sapone, Deputy Supervisor, will talk briefly about the ASAP program, which we're in the process of launching. So, I think, Ryan, maybe you first.
Good afternoon, everyone. Just a quick update, I guess. Things remain relatively the same in terms of our response to everything at this point. Some of the numbers, totals that we had from late yesterday, we were at 17 confirmed positives within the town of Southampton. There are other quarantine situations and things like that that we are also aware of and monitoring within the town in cooperation with the Southampton Town Police Department. Total testing done countywide as of late yesterday was 6,425 tests. Of that, we're at about a 27% positive rate, which is up from where we were, but there's also been a significant jump in testing capability too. So it's a rise that we wouldn't want to see, but it's not necessarily unexpected. We continue to advocate for an eSend testing site. The supervisor has been advocating for that on any of the calls with the county that involve the towns and villages. They're reporting increased testing capacity at this point in time. We continue to push out very similar messaging that we have been to the public with regards to precautionary measures that can be taken, social distancing, respiratory protection, hand washing, all of the things that I think everyone's quite familiar with at this point. We just helped acquire some supplies for the Shinnecock Nation today, which I will be bringing out to them myself tomorrow morning. We have gotten them some gloves and some masks, some N95 masks, some basic surgical masks, as well as some hand sanitizer, some of the sanitizer that's been created through Corecraft through the state of New York. So we're going to be delivering
They have
that.
a clinic and they have a food distribution system, so.
Right, and they're engaging with a lot of the members of the Shinnecock Nation particularly they've told me at the food distribution location, so they want to make sure that they have the right level of respiratory and hand protection and stuff like that at those sites. Outside of that, we are fielding a lot of calls with some of the new executive orders that have been put out by the governor's office. Obviously, it's raised a lot of community calls with regards to what activities are and aren't permitted. We've addressed them as they've come up with whatever guidance that we have at the time. We've tried to take a very measured approach to how we're handling that. We're going strictly by what the orders are, and then any additional interpretive documentation that's been put out by the state, we're not interpreting ourselves. We're going by the orders as they're presented, with the understanding that we want to try and accomplish two things: preserve the safety of the public, but at the same time, if possible, in any ways, keep segments of the economy going, because we know everyone's hurting. So we're trying to take as balanced approach to that as we can.
They seem to change every day, but now all gatherings are prohibited, right?
Yes, under the newest order, 202.10, all gatherings of any sort are prohibited at this point. So there had been concerns in other portions of the county about gatherings of 20, 25, children on bicycles, things like that. That would be a prohibited act at this point based on the newest executive order that came out this morning, dated late yesterday. Obviously, a family group, if there's 4 or 5 people in your household and you're going to go out for a hike or something like that, those are still acceptable actions, but no gathering out in the public as far as, just a group of friends of any kind of number at this point.
Yeah. And in terms of essential businesses, which seems to be changing too all the time, but at the moment, we believe construction to be classified as essential.
Correct. Item 9 under the essential businesses and activities list, as presented in Executive Orders 202.6 and 202.8. It's kind of a combined 202.8 refined some of the 202.6 orders. Construction was identified under item 9. Bullet 1 identified all skilled trades as being essential, and Bullet 2 identified anything that's necessary for emergency purposes or safety purposes as being essential, but two separate bullets. So
And we're
our
hearing
current interpretation,
landscaping too is considered essential.
they've been added by the state to the essential list. Anybody that's unsure of whether or not their particular business is essential can go to the Empire State Development website and essentially petition to have their business or their type of business or their specific business added to the essential list. So if it's not on the list as essential, we are to assume that they are a non-essential business and should not be operating. We provide them the guidance to get to the Empire State Development website and fill out the application on there to have a determination made as to whether or not they can receive the essential designation, which is what we've been telling people. But the biggest calls have been construction and landscaping lately. Obviously, we're in a busy spin-up part of the season where those businesses are seriously impacted out here for us, and all over the place. And a lot of people want to do the work that they need to get done. And right now, both of them fall on the essential list as it currently stands. We are awaiting potential further guidance from the state on that.
Do you have anything else for us?
No. Unless you have
Any other questions from the board for Mr. Murphy?
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Welcome.
And Brian's been on all the conference calls with the East End supervisors and mayors, with the county executive and all the town supervisors and mayors. So we're spending a lot of time on conference calls.
Yes.
But we're doing our best to understand all the changes and keep people safe and keep everybody informed. Okay. So one of the things we started doing with the understanding that seniors were our most vulnerable to the COVID-19 virus was to try to find ways to keep them home. We felt that too many seniors were going out for small items that they needed right away, and that maybe that was a gap that we could close. So we worked on putting a delivery system in place using town assets, town employees, town vehicles, and we're calling it ASAP, or the All Seniors Assistance Program. It's free of charge. The delivery piece is free of charge. Basically, the seniors register, they call the merchant takes the order, takes the credit card, calls us, we then send somebody over, pick it up and deliver it free of charge. But Frank has been working nonstop on this. Frank Sapone, if you could come up and sort of answer any questions or talk a little bit maybe more about the logistics involved and how we're trying to rise to this occasion.
Sure, thank you. You gave a pretty good summary of the nuts and bolts of the program. Just to update the board, we feel that we'll be able to begin actual deliveries from merchants to our seniors starting tomorrow morning. We have over 200 seniors have already registered in the program. We have about 24 merchants throughout the town, both in the eastern and in the western portion of the town. We have almost 24 volunteers who have town employees who have volunteered to drive to assist with the delivery program.
2 volunteers?
About 24 volunteers, yeah,
Wow.
from town staff, including full and part-time town employees who have volunteered. As I said, we'll begin the process commencing tomorrow morning. The deliveries will be made during the business day, 8:30 to 4 in the afternoon. The registration online can happen anytime, 24/7. Placing the orders is from the customer to the merchant. The town is not connected at all with the ordering process, so you may call the merchant at any business hours that the merchant maintains, but we don't have delivery staff on call at 5 o'clock in the evening or 7 o'clock in the evening. It would have to wait till the following day. The delivery program that we're providing does not include Saturday or Sunday. So it's Monday through Friday from 8:30 to 4 in the afternoon.
If we get enough demand, is that something we can look at?
We can look at if we get enough demand. I'd have to work out with personnel, the staffing time, because the regular hours of employees may not include Saturday and Sunday. Are there different issues that we would have to address and wrinkles that we would have to iron out in order to accomplish that? But I think we have enough in place right now to give a robust response to whatever the seniors in our community would apply for, and we'll have to measure it on a day-to-day basis. Our plan initially is to have at least 2 drivers on call each day. We could increase that, but we'll start with a manageable number. We are sending out emails this afternoon, in fact, they're out right now, to all of the seniors, reminding them of the process that they have to follow in order to complete a successful order. Every senior has been assigned an account number. They will use that account number to identify themselves with the merchant, and the merchant will use that account number to identify the purchaser to us. So we don't have to have names and addresses and other things floating back and forth where possible. We can rely on the account number. A lot of what we've been able to do since we conceived this idea last Thursday is largely been attributable to the work of Colleen Jones and Deborah Keller and Ryan Horn in the CRC. V. Bennett has been a great help, and a number of the council members have helped accumulate a lot of information that has been at the core of especially the outreach to merchants. That I know some of you went door to door and made telephone calls, and that helped promote the idea, but also our email blasts have been very successful in getting merchants to respond. The response has been very, very good. I think 20 or almost 24 is a good response, and it's every variety. We have hardware stores and drug stores and small grocery stores and a wide variety of merchants that can fulfill our needs. Related to this, I did want to let the board know that we are also preparing a list that we will put on the website of all local merchants that already have their own delivery service. A number of people know this already, but we're trying to create one compendium that a senior, or anyone else in fact, can go to that's not senior restricted, that XYZ store or restaurant or retail of some operation already has a delivery service. Call them and make your necessary arrangements. A lot of that information is scattered hither and yon, so we thought it would be helpful to consolidate it into one place, and we'll post that on our website probably sometime late tomorrow, and keep updating it as that information comes forward.
Frank, I'd like you to add, excuse me, stores that have dedicated senior shopping hours as well. That's something that I've come across, is that there are a number of stores that are dedicating 2 hours for seniors only to shop.
Okay, well, sure, we can add that.
There's some mixed thinking on whether that's a good thing, that it maybe actually be congregating seniors. There's mixed thought about that. We'd like them to stay at home, ideally. So rather than encourage them to go out during senior hour.
Well, the stores that I've seen are limiting the number of people in the stores
store.
during those hours.
Yeah, and I'm not sure about.
Okay.
Maybe you could
We
put a note.
we can research it, certainly. It's, for those who would take advantage of it, it's valuable information. I
Well,
think
some of the
most
mar-
of that is the larger supermarkets, like the King Cullens and the ShopRites. I'm not sure if any of our smaller merchants are doing that, but we can add that question to our,
I think that was partially to guarantee that they would be able to get the supplies
Right.
that they needed.
yeah.
But we are concerned about them just going out of their homes and, being in close proximity to others, so.
Right.
But we could make a note somewhere.
Yeah.
You can work with Tommy John on that.
Sure.
I was gonna ask you, Frank, about safety protocols, procedures
Right.
for the town employees, but also to make sure that the seniors, that are participating in this program, that, they're getting a sterile product. So-
Right, well, all of our drivers, volunteer drivers, have been equipped, first of all, with a town vehicle. They have protective hand gear, they have masks, and they have sanitizers in the car. We're also providing them with a set of instructions of how to address any situations that they have concerns with. In any bag that we pick up to deliver, we're putting inside that bag a notice to the recipient of steps they should take to protect themselves from whatever might be in the contents that they order. We've asked the merchants to take necessary precautions. It's difficult to monitor that, so we're monitoring our drivers, which we have control over, and we're giving a very clear set of instructions on a 5x7 bright yellow card that we're putting in the package, telling the senior when they open the package, these are precautionary steps you would be wise to take before you access any of the produce or items that are in this bag. So we're taking those necessary precautions. We're trying to do a rotation with the cars. We're using 2 cars one day, holding them over for 24 hours and using 2 different cars the following day, so that there's a lag time in between the use of the vehicles, taking the guidance that Mr. Murphy has provided, that 24 hours of isolation would make the cars would probably be safe. But we're also instructing the drivers to wipe down the steering wheels. We have alcohol rubs in the car. We are instructing them to, when they are in the program, wear your gloves at all times, wear your mask anytime you leave the vehicle, and use sanitizer, which the town is providing, whenever you think it's necessary, and certainly on any packaging that you might have some concerns about.
Okay.
I did want to mention, and I neglected to mention in the beginning, that for people who would like to register for the program, be they seniors who want delivery or merchants who want to offer their services to the community, they can go on the town's website. The homepage has a button on it that says ASAP. That will take you to a page that's half of it's devoted to registering yourself as a senior, pointing to myself as an example, or using registering your business. It will take you to a registration page.
And that button, it's a crowded web page, but the button's in the top left.
It's in the upper left-hand corner at the top of
Red
the
button,
page.
yeah.
And we have cleaned up the website, taken off all the slides except for 2. One is a slide that says Southampton local information, and the other one is a slide that says COVID-19 information. So we removed some of the clutter. There is also, for those people who have some difficulty accessing the internet, be it because of connection or equipment or whatever their challenge might be, there is a number you can call, 631-702-1777. If you can't get through on the internet, you can call that number. You'll get assistance. Someone is here to answer the phone. But again, that's between 8:30 and 4 p.m. The internet is available to you 24/7.
All right, any other questions for Frank?
Yeah, a couple. 2 things that we're delivering locally just for neighbors in our immediate area. So 2 things came up. One was orders from those stores that already have delivery services. There was some confusion. Peapod was down for a while. I think they're back up. I think, as I understand it, places like BJ's have sort of changed their model. They will be delivered. So I think it's important to keep up with that information. The other big one was the need for seniors to get their prescriptions. And I'm not sure if that's included in this delivery service. We ran into some problems with that to verify, you're picking up prescription drugs. That has to be verified through, it was actually quite a complex process, it seemed to me. We were trying to encourage people to, mail, you can get your prescriptions mailed, but that doesn't help the immediate problem. I'm just, those are some of the things that we learned over the last 4 days.
Well, that's helpful, Councilman Bouvier, thank you. We do have several of our local pharmacies involved that have agreed to provide prescription drugs. They have given their own set of instructions to their clients on what they would require in terms of confidentiality and protection of not only information, but the prescription itself. A couple of the larger chain pharmacies already have a delivery system that they've set up with their patrons. So I think we've got that covered pretty much. And
Any
it's not-
controlled substances will be delivered by the police department, I think, they said.
Right,
they
we're,
would-
we're on-
Yeah,
we're only
these are
doing
just
prescription,
maintenance.
non-controlled substance.
Non-controlled, yeah.
And the pharmacies won't give a controlled substance to someone other than the.
Right. Or the police,
the
they'll give it to the
subscriber.
police.
To the police department, yes, but they wouldn't be giving it to one of our drivers, I don't think.
And the other question I had was that there are a lot of volunteers out, non-town employees.
Right.
There are sons and daughters of some of our employees here who are also interested in helping as volunteer force. And I know there's some liability issues, but I would urge you to consider that as well. I expect that you're going to get a growth in registrations,
Right.
you know,
Yeah.
as we publish this.
And that's certainly something we will look at. We are not including non-town employees in the volunteer program at this point because we feel it's important for the safety of the seniors foremost that they don't see a strange, unidentifiable vehicle driving up to their homes. A lot of the people live in more isolated areas or in a flag lot, and if they see a clearly marked town vehicle, it's a sense of security. Plus, as you point out, there are some liability issues for the vehicle, for the patron, and then for the volunteer, that if we can manage it with town employees, I think that would be the best way to go. There are a number of other services out there that people are interested in volunteering, and I know there are many that they'll put their good intentions to good use if they reach out into the community.
All right, thank you, Frank.
You're welcome.
All right.
Thanks, Frank.
Let's go to the agenda now. I'm going to try to rush through this just because I have a 3 o'clock conference call, which only gives us a half an hour. So let me make a motion to approve the minutes from our March 10th, 2020 meeting.
Second.
Second by Councilman Bouvier, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, approved. Sunday, would you read communications?
Certainly. We have received public notices from the Suffolk County Planning Commission, letters of local determinations regarding acceptance of the SGEIS in Hampton Bays Downtown Overlay District, notice of adoption for the Overlay District, Chapter 330-333, protection of unmarked graves, Chapter 323, moratorium on development action in the hamlet of Shinnecock Hills, public hearing notice from the Town of East Hampton, Town of Southold, public hearing notice, Village of Quogue Board of Appeals adjoining neighbor notifications for the following locations: 4 Fair Oaks Drive, Quogue, 2 Wood Edge Trail, Quogue, 56 Old Main Road, Quogue. Village of Southampton Zoning Board of Appeals adjoining neighbor notification for 50 Country Road 39, I guess that's County Road 39, Southampton. Financial disclosure statements have been filed from the listed individuals, and we have received liquor license notifications from the following entities. New applications for Southampton and Hampton Bays, and renewals in Hampton Bays. From the town fire districts, the Hampton Bays Fire District declaration of district emergency as of March 16th, 2020. Letters, emails, and land use applications have been received regarding the following: Hampton Bays CAC member appointment, planning board applications on Fanning Avenue, Hampton Bays, and Baconic Avenue in Riverside. The following bid openings took place on March 11th to furnish and install asphalt concrete, installation of cupola and balustrade at Nathaniel Rogers' house. And last but not least, the private municipal markets for disposal and recycling services. And that concludes our communications for this meeting's agenda.
Okay, thank you, Cindy. All right, to the public hearings, now we did say that these would be postponed. We'll have to open them and then make a motion to adjourn them. I'm thinking April 28th is the next evening meeting, right? That's roughly a month from now, 6 p.m.
Yes.
Hopefully we'll be back to normal. Who knows? We might have to adjourn them again, but that's what I would say is let's adjourn them to 6 p.m. on April 28th. Sunny, would you read the first public hearing notice?
Certainly. Public hearing to consider amending Town Code, Chapter 330, zoning, to add Section 330-333 entitled Protection of Unmarked Graves.
Thank you. And so you said there was a number, there's 16 correspondences we received, so
Yes.
can I incorporate that into the record?
They're already in the record.
They are in the
Yes,
record.
as received in the town clerk's office, we filed them in the legislative file.
Okay, so, Jim, do I have to say, is there anyone who wishes to be heard? There's no public.
There's no public.
And the open meetings law, there's been some suspension of that too, so. Okay, so I'll make a motion then to adjourn till April 28th at 6 PM.
Second.
Seconded by Councilwoman Lofstad. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, so that's adjourned. Madam Clerk, the second public hearing notice?
Public hearing number 2, to consider enacting Town Code, Chapter 323, imposing a moratorium on certain development actions within particular areas of the hamlet of Shinnecock Hills.
All right, thank you. So I'll make the same motion to adjourn till April 28th, 6 PM.
Second?
Seconded by Councilman Scavone. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So that is adjourned as well. So public portion, I had said that we would look at any comments received an hour before the meeting, so up to 1 PM, specific to the meeting for anyone who wanted to be heard in public portion. We've received none, correct?
We've received correspondence to the town board that has been distributed. but
It's a regular
nothing-
correspondence, but
Yes,
nothing
but
specifically
nothing
where somebody says, I'd
designated.
like to speak at public portion.
No,
But I can't, so please read my comments.
no, we have not.
Okay, so then there's nothing to read. I'll make a motion, I guess, to close public portion. Seconded by Councilman Scavone. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, so we'll go to resolutions. I don't have Sandra here, so I don't know that we have final language on this first one. 300 of 2020. Maybe I could pass over that. Somebody want to see if, maybe Cam, can somebody check if Sandra's here, if we have final language? Or how about this? Since this simply allows me to execute it, and we all are aware of the terms, why don't we pass this, and then I won't execute it until it's correct? Is that, everybody okay with that?
I'm okay with that.
Yep.
Yes.
All right. So, all right, I'll make a motion to approve, let me just make sure it's not referencing a particular document.
No.
No, it doesn't, okay, so I should be okay.
Second
So,
motion.
so resolution 300, 2020, ratifying stipulation of settlement, seconded by Councilman Bouvier, was it?
Yes.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Approved. 370 of 2020 authorizes purchase of KIP 2300 scanner from Toshiba Business Solutions using Omnia Partners contract.
Second?
Seconded by Councilman Scavone, all in favor? I
Aye.
approve. 371 of 2020 authorizes removal of toxic and hazardous material at various locations.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Bouvier, all in favor?
Aye.
I approve.
Town Board Resolution 372 of 2020, authorize the online purchase of Zendesk for its technical support ticketing.
Second.
Who seconded? I'm sorry, seconded by Councilman Martell, all in favor?
Aye.
I approve. 373 authorizes, oh, hey, Sandra? We, just come forward for 1 second. We already moved the resolution to ratify the stipulation.
Yes.
We have a tentative agreement. I just don't know if we have a written agreement yet that meets the
We
Board's
haven't gotten
concerns.
assent from the union that I know of, and we don't have a rewritten agreement. We're waiting for response.
Okay, so I now have the authorization to sign it when it meets the board's understanding
Right.
of what it will do.
Oh, okay, so
I
you
just,
guys are gonna pass it?
but I don't have a I haven't seen a resolution that has the terms that we agreed upon.
I didn't realize that this one was just being brought up because it had been tabled before. I didn't realize I should have withdrawn it until we had a final agreement.
Okay, but I think it's okay. We all understand the terms. If we're not able to get those terms, then I just simply won't sign it.
Yes, but that's a.
Okay, and then we
fine
can
agreement, so-
rescind it if we need to.
Okay, very
Okay.
good, thank you.
Thank you. All right, so 373, co-sponsored with Councilman Bouvier, Lofstad, and Scavone. Authorize the purchase of fleet management services from New York State contract with Automotive Rentals Incorporated.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Bouvier. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, approved.
Town Board Resolution 374, 2020, authorize the supervisor to sign a 2020 extension with Aji Authentic Mexican Food for Hot Dog Beach.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Bouvier. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, approved.
Resolution 375, 2020, authorize the supervisor to sign a 2020 extension with Osdemer Ice Cream for mobile concessions for 2020 summer season for Flying Point, Pikes Beach, Foster Memorial Beach, and Sag Main Beach.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Scavone. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, approved.
Resolution 376, 2020, authorize the supervisor to execute 2020 agreements with vendors for performances at Good Ground Park.
Second?
Seconded by Councilman Lofstad. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, approved. 377, authorize the supervisor to execute 2020 cooperative agreements with neighboring villages for the town to provide shared computer services.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Bouvier. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, approved.
Resolution 378 of 2020, authorize the supervisor to execute 2020 spring-summer parks and recreation agreements for programs.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Bouvier. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, approved.
Resolution 379, 2020, authorize the supervisor to execute a 2020 service and maintenance agreement with Best Climate Control for the HVAC system located at the Central Garage Building.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Bouvier. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, approved.
Resolution 380 of 2020, authorize the supervisor to execute an amendment with the H2M Architects Engineers Land Surveying for engineering services for wellhead treatment for removal of PFCs at plant number 1 at the Hampton Bays Water District.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Scavone. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, approved. 381, authorizes the supervisor to sign a contract extension with Gentile Pismeni and Brengle LLP to perform independent audits of the ambulance districts within the town of Southampton.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Martell. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Approved.
Resolution 2020-382, authorize the supervisor to sign a contract with L.K. McLean Associates, P.C., for professional services to be provided for design for roof access at the town's animal shelter.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Bouvier. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, approved. 383, authorizes the supervisor to sign a letter of intent for the town of Southampton to enter into a common agreement with Suffolk County, town of East Hampton, town of Southold, town of Riverhead to maintain, improve, and expand where necessary emergency radio communications.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Scavone. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, approved.
Resolution 2020-384, authorize the supervisor to sign agreements for senior services programs.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Martell. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Approved.
Resolution 385, 2020, award and authorize the supervisor to execute contract with Suffolk Paving Corp. for furnish and install asphalt concrete.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Scavone. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, approved.
Resolution 386, 2020, recall and amend Resolution 272 of 2020.
Second?
Seconded by Councilwoman Lofstad. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Approved.
Town Board Resolution 2020-387 to recall and amend Resolutions 219-497 and 219-567.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Scavone. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, approved.
Resolution 2020-388, recall and amend Town Board Resolution 2020-198.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Martell. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, approved.
Town Board Resolution 2020-389 to recall and amend Town Board Resolution 211-1272 to amend the goals of the landmark maintenance account to permit not-for-profit organizations to apply for grant funding.
Second.
Seconded and co-sponsored by Councilman Scavone. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, approved.
Town Board Resolution 2020-390, also co-sponsored with Councilman Scavone, to authorize recipients of the 2020 Town of Southampton Landmarks Maintenance and Award Program.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Scavone. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, approved. 391, authorized transfer from the Eloise Obrecht restricted account to senior services program expenses.
Second?
Seconded by Councilwoman Lofstad. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, approved. 392, continuation of legal services by Sertelman, Ballin, Adler, and Hyman LLP as it relates to Rose Hill Road, Watermill, New York.
Town Board Resolution 2020,
Oh,
I'm sorry.
Second?
Second.
You wanted to move fast.
Seconded by Councilwoman Lofstad. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, approved.
Town Board Resolution 2020-393 is authorization of cost reimbursement waiver for the Hand Aldrich American Legion Post 924 Annual Memorial Day Parade on May 25th, 2020, from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. as co-sponsor with Councilman Martell.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Martell. All in favor?
Aye.
I approve. 394, authorizes Community Preservation Fund tax refund pursuant to the first-time home buyer's exemption for Maria Kemp.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Bouvier. All in favor?
Aye.
I approve. 395, authorizes Community Preservation Fund refund pursuant to the first-time home buyer's exemption for Munoz Cando and Barzueta Chacho.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Bouvier. All in favor?
Aye.
I approved. 396, accepts performance bond in connection with the emergency coastal erosion management permit of Round Dune Inc., 101 Dune Road, East Quogue.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Scavone. All in favor?
Aye.
I approve. 397, accepts resignation of Thomas Guzmano, maintenance mechanic 1 in Parks Department.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Bouvier. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I approved. 398, appoints Paul Sopko to heavy equipment operator position in waste management.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Bouvier. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Congratulations to Paul. 399, appoints Heather Hofner to public safety dispatcher 1 position in the police department.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Scavone. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I approved, and congratulations to Heather. Resolution 400 appoints Tara Collins to Public Safety Dispatcher 1 position in the Police Department.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Scavone. All in favor?
Aye.
I approved.
Town Board.
Congratulations to Tara. Go ahead, John.
Town Board Resolution 2020-401, accept a deed of residual fee from Joseph F. Gaza for property to be maintained as open space located at North Sea, Suffolk County Tax Map 900-99-2-16.1 pursuant to Southampton Town Code, Chapter 244-4, obtaining a development rights certificate, and Chapter 247 General Municipal Law of the State of New York.
Second?
Seconded by Councilman Lofstad. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I approved. To the walk-ons, Resolution 33830, warrant number 6, capital number 6, CPF number 6, and payroll liability.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Bouvier. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I approved. 33834. Did you all get a copy of it?
Yes.
Okay, this is authorizing the supervisor to execute an agreement with Altice regarding the Cliff Drive Underground Utility Improvement District.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Scavone. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Julie,
Abstain.
with the clerk note, Councilman Lofstad is abstaining, and there's 4 yeses, so that is approved as well. Okay, that gets us to the end of our agenda. Is there any other business?
There is one thing.
Okay.
I just want to make the board aware that, coming out of East Hampton Airport, the group of pilots, the Eastern Regional Helicopter Council, has established new voluntary fly routes, and the board should be aware of this. One of the fly routes goes up over Orient and takes the north route, which is fantastic. Other routes go over Sagaponack and Bridgehampton, which is kind of the same, but there's a new route that goes west, continuing over North Sea, Noyak, and North Watermill area, and turns south at Robbins Island, and is going to pass over the Shinnecock Canal and Shinnecock Inlet. So we are going to see an uptick in helicopter traffic over the Hampton Bays, Shinnecock Hills area, and we're going to be monitoring this as well.
So that's going to fly along the ocean westward?
And then it would presumably continue westward or go out over the ocean and go west. But it's the crossover from the Peconic area to the ocean that the board needs to be aware of in our communities as well.
Okay.
Is that, I'm a little
Got a
confused, because that
conflict
flight,
with Kennedy Airport airspace.
Yeah. that's Kennedy Air, see, but it's also the issue that the helicopters don't file flight plans, so I'm just a little
It's voluntary.
trying to understand that. So that they're going to do a voluntary, they're going to restrict themselves voluntarily to that. It's not a mandated flight path from the federal government.
It's a voluntary
Okay.
plan from an association of pilots.
All right.
And the change, a significant change for the town of Southampton, is that they are going to be following this new voluntary flight plan to the south route, transitioning from Robbins Island over Shinnecock Hills and over the Shinnecock Canal and Inlet, which is Hampton Bay.
Because the MSR is also, right,
This could be a major problem,
yeah.
If I
noise-wise.
could just say too, from my experience at the beaches, sometimes, not the helicopters, but the planes that fly, I don't know how far off our coastline they stay, but quite often they're flying right over our beaches as they're being used by thousands and thousands of residents and guests, and it would be wonderful if they stayed a little further off. They're directly over the people that are coming to enjoy the beaches when they're flying through.
Right.
Well,
So
we'll have to
it's
see
really-
if, what the impact of these changes are.
It is, and they're trying to mitigate the traffic that has been flying over the North Fork of Long Island, and they've had it
Right.
really
Maybe can
bad
we-
as well, so,
Well, when things get back to normal,
yeah.
then maybe we'll take this up at a work session and go over it.
Because the federal, the FAA may have something to say about that, as they try to impose a restriction. That's the only, I know that's been tried before, so that's my only concern, but let's,
I don't quite understand what you're saying.
well, you can voluntarily do anything, but the FAA can say, no, you can't. And usually, if it's, involves a lot of, there's minimum height restrictions and things like that, but they don't apply to helicopters, so it tends to become complicated. That's all I'm saying.
Is there any other business?
okay.
Any other business? I'll just say,
Talk offline.
just before we close, I just want to say a special thank you on behalf of the community to all the healthcare workers who are on the front line. It's got to be really very challenging to be in that environment and to be able to deliver those services to those most in need. We're really, I think, collectively impressed by the bravery, but also the expertise and professionalism of our healthcare communities, our hospitals, our doctors, our nurses, everyone involved in the coronavirus response. And there's also a lot of unsung heroes in the non-medical professions out there too, the clerks at the grocery stores, who are helping people get food, and the people who are delivering to seniors. And I know we'll get through this, and we'll have a debt of gratitude to pay to all the people who got us through it. So I just, as we close, just to remind everyone to be thankful and appreciative of all those people who are essential to the coronavirus response, and who are putting themselves and their families at some risk to make it safer, safer for others. So thank you to all of them. All right, and with that, I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Second by Councilman Bouvier, all in favor?
Aye.
We are adjourned.